Hello, this is what I developed for this module and this STRAND project. I chose Standard of Learning 5.9 in regarding to 5th grade, and in this STRAND we're going to focus on metric units of length, mass, and liquid volume, and converting those measurements into equivalent metric units. The graphic organizer that I used was a simple graphic organizer that easily helps them, gives them a mnemonic to remember the order of these different metric units and the prefix and the base and how they're connected and what multiplication factors that they would have to use in order to take it from the base and go to a smaller unit or go to a larger unit. And they can go through this and create their own graphic organizer to refer back to understand these different metric units. And what's nice about the metric units is it doesn't matter if it's meters, liters, or grams. It all works the same. When you want to go to kilometers, you multiply by 1,000. And each one of these work in the same way. So they can create this graphic organizer to help them throughout these projects. The connecting activity that I used was for science. And it's wonderful because math and science are easily interchangeable, easily related. And so in conjunction with the STRAND project, I used a science project from Bob Jones University involving pebbles and using a balance. And not only are they measuring the mass in grams with these pebbles, but they are also measuring the volume, practicing with graduated cylinders and using water displacement to measure the volume of irregular objects. In the three-tiered activities, I differentiated it for below grade level, at grade level, and above grade level for three different content. We are going to work on measuring in length in metric. We're going to work on measuring mass in metric and liquid volume. And so for measuring length, we have a scavenger hunt, and it's tiered to accommodate these three groups. And as they get into the higher levels, more is expected of them, and it is further extended for those who are above grade level. So they are to find an object in the room that is the equivalent measurement of a centimeter. So they'll have a ruler, and they'll go around the classroom and try to find objects that are equal to a centimeter or 5 centimeters or 8 millimeters, and then write those objects down. They will also practice converting those into either higher metric units or lower metric units. To measure mass, they will be asked to pull out these different objects. We will use a balance, and we will look at these items and give an estimate of what they think these different items would be in grams. And then we'll actually practice using the balance and write the actual measurement down, and we'll subtract the two numbers and see how close they were with their estimates. In measuring volume, we're going to look at these different items. These are normal everyday items that they would use, and I will have these displayed for my students. And the students will give what they think each one would hold in milliliters, and then we'll actually use graduated cylinders to measure the actual content of a coffee cup, a glass, a spoon, and pour them in various graduated cylinders to show if they were close in their estimation or not. And we'll subtract those items to see the difference. I prepared 3 assessments. One of them would be a game, and then it would be divided into 3 or 4 groups, or 3 or 4 small groups. And they'll work together in stations where they'll have, each station will have cards that they'll need to flip over. They'll work together as a group, so this is not only working on their skills in math, but they're working on cooperation. And what they'll need to do is they will use these cards to work together to find the equivalent measurement from, for instance, 13 liters. They will need to find the equivalent of milliliters, and they can go back to that graphic organizer that they had. The second formative assessment is the Google slide activity, and there are 13 slides in here. There's one example of here where they're going to take these cards and match them to the equivalent measurements. And then there's lots of practice. They can go at their own pace, and when they submit that, the teacher can evaluate their progress and reteach if they're misunderstanding. The summative is similar to the one they just had in the formative, but it's the teacher can more quickly diagnose the situation if they're having trouble. And it's they were called boom cards, and so they'll have this is an example. They'll have some type of question here, and they'll have 3 multiple choice answers where they have to click. It gives me a quick assessment of whether or not they're understanding the concept, and they can turn that in. I can see that progress very easily. I hope you enjoyed what I have prepared, and I thank you for listening to this presentation.